have a lot of jungle cacti. Hey fellow plant people, welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you are new. My name is Jen. I go by the Leafy Geek here and also on Instagram. I'm going to show you my jungle cacti collection today. I have acquired, how many have I acquired? I really like jungle cacti a lot, and I've been fortunate enough to find quite a few species at any given time. And yeah, it's probably my second favorite type of plant alongside the hoya. So I guess we'll just get started. Full disclaimer, I do have post-it notes right here with the countries and the regions of the world where these beautiful little plant creatures are endemic to or native to. I can't keep that all straight in my brain, so I have a cheat sheet, but I did want to share that information with you because I kind of find it interesting. A lot of them, or if not most of them, are found or endemic, which means they occur naturally throughout that area. A lot of them are endemic to Central and South America. And so I guess we'll just get started. This is my first Rhipsalis. This little guy is a Rhipsalis Campos-portoana. That is the name. I'm going to try and get it so that it does not pick up my face. You can get a sense of how spaghetti-like its growth habit is. I mean, I guess, would you call these leaves or petioles or dangly-doos? I don't know. Campos-portoana is found endemic to the east and southeast regions of Brazil. And I just really appreciate its growth habit. It does this crazy little wild hairdo type growth. It was kind of slow to start when I got it. But all of these longer tendrils are essentially new from when I had gotten the plant. So what it does is it shoots out these long skinny tendrils, and then it will fork out and branch out. So that is Rhipsalis Campos-portoana. This is my Rhipsalis Elliptica, and it looks not unlike your garden variety Christmas or Easter cactus, although it is very much a separate genus from Schlumbergera. But this is my little elliptica. This has been a slow one for me. I think it came and really, this one struggled to acclimate to my home. But as you can see, I do have some new little growth tips happening. This one's new also. So this is Rhipsalis elliptica, and this one is also endemic to Brazil. I believe the south and southeast regions. That is what my notes say. That's what the internet says also. I really enjoy this one just because a lot of Rhipsalis just kind of go every which way. Rhipsalis and most other jungle cacti that are related to Rhipsalis, so that would include Epiphyllum, that would also include Lepismium. They are they're epiphytic, which means they grow on other trees and plants, usually higher up off the ground, so they do not necessarily require soil. I have all of mine in soil, but it is a very airy, loose mix. I use a very similar mix to what I use for my hoyas, which are also epiphytic. So they really appreciate the mix that I have them in, it seems. So this is Rhipsalis goebeliana. This one is found endemic to Bolivia. This one's found primarily, if not exclusively, in Bolivia. As you can see, it has this lovely, this one's looking a little bit stretchy. I should probably see kind of what its light situation requires a little bit closer. I should investigate that a little bit more. But it does also have this amazing growth habit where it just spreads and sprawls. These kind of pendant-like little leaves. Not unlike a holiday cacti. This weird branchy boy is Rhipsalis Sulcata. This one is limited to one particular region in Brazil, so it's a little bit harder to find. And it is a little bit more branch-like than some of my other fleshier, leafier looking Rhipsalis varieties. So closer maybe a little bit more to Campos-portoana, and then it doesn't have that pendant-like leaf structure to it. But it's a really interesting variety. I'm excited to see this one grow. Right now it's essentially one of my largest Rhipsalis that I have in my collection. Really enjoy this one. I have a couple of interesting little critters here. They are Rhipsalis Species, or SPA, however you choose to frame that or say that. But these two don't have a Latin or a botanical name as of yet. They are, I think, primarily labeled either by the person who published them, which in this case that would be this one, or they're also labeled, I think this one is labeled for the region in which it was found. So first I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this one. It's a little sparse. I've struggled with this one a bit. It did experience some pretty significant root rot when I got it. So I ended up having to chop all of these little pieces off of their roots and reroot them, and they struggled. It was a struggle bus to get them to root. And they'd originally, I don't know if you can see this, but it was this little cutting part, this little central cutting part to about there, and then this piece, which strangely enough looks quite different from the other two pieces that it came with, which makes me wonder if this is an older section of a plant or if this is a completely different plant entirely. The new growth looks quite similar, which makes me feel like maybe this is, for a long time I thought this might be a Lepismium and this was the Rhipsalis, but I think after looking at the new growth, this might have just been an older section of like the main plant, or it was a cutting taken from an older section of the main mother plant. But this one is called Rhipsalis Species, or SPA, X Hans Weiler, GRF. Whatever that means, whoever that is. I kind of just call it Hans because I can never remember the name. So it's doing okay. It's pretty sparse, as you can tell, but I do have new growth happening here. It's kind of branching out a little bit. All of this is new. You can see where that new growth kind of came out of the end of this cut off section, this cutting here. So this is new, and it came off the end here. This is also new. Hans. Okay, this other one I really enjoy. I wish I had more of it. It's kind of a small, scrawny little Rhipsalis, but I do really, really like this one. It's up there in my favorites of my collection. I really do enjoy it. And it is another slow grower, but it did put out some new segments here off of its stems or petioles or leaves, or however you want to refer to those parts of a Rhipsalis. So I think this whole section is new. I got these all, I seem to have accumulated them last summer 2019. A lot of them came in at that time. Specifically this one did for sure, I know that. This one is called Rhipsalis SPA, or Species, Venezuela, DJC, Estado, Aragua, SEL 780673. And that's the name. So from what I've been able to deduce, Estado Aragua is the state of Aragua in Venezuela. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. My Spanish is not tip-top. But it is a state in Venezuela, so I'd imagine this one is named after the region in which it was found. Next, jungle cactus. Ooh, so this is my newest Rhipsalis acquisition. I just got this one today. I unboxed it off camera. It was in the middle of lunch break and I didn't have time to set up and film it. I'm working from home during this time, so my office setup for work is also where I film YouTube videos, so that was a tight turnaround. I couldn't film it, so I just took it out of the package to get it out and warmed up. And this is, who are you? Which one? Haha, this is Rhipsalis Micrantha, form, am I pronouncing that right? Going to be a mouthful. Rhipsalis Micrantha, form rauhiorum. This is Rhipsalis Micrantha, form rauhiorum. That's a lot. That's a lot of Latin. This one is beautiful. I don't know if you can see, it looks quite similar to the Sulcata, except the stems are a little bit flatter all the way around. And they seem to have these little tiny hairs at the joints, or at where the leaves connect, which is kind of cool. So this one looks fun. I will eventually pot these together, I believe, just to kind of give it some oomph. Right now I'm just keeping them in these little, in their grow pots still, because these are brand new. I give them some time to acclimate to my home. So I'm going to keep these in their grow pots in these little terracotta pots to kind of balance out the weight. They are a little bit top heavy. So that's what I'm going to do. Give them some time. It is getting to the point in the year where you're able to repot Rhipsalis a lot easier. They definitely recommend avoiding repotting Rhipsalis in the winter. So this interesting little critter, from what I can tell, is found in one region of Ecuador. You know, obviously this wasn't collected in the wild, but so I have mixed feelings because some of these I know are quite rare and harder to find, but because it is a type of plant that I appreciate so much and that does so well in my home, I genuinely try to provide it the best conditions possible. And I try to be responsible about the vendors that I go through and the sellers that I purchase from. I got these from Josh's Frogs. I got several of my Rhipsalis from either Josh's Frogs or Steve's Leaves. It's where most of my collection has come from. I think I have a couple from Etsy, but again, those ones were obviously grown in cultivation. Do not collect your rare plants from the wild because they are rare. Some of them only grow in certain areas. They deserve to be left there. If you can find one in cultivation, that's a much better option for you and for the plant. So that's my PSA for the day, I guess, about rare jungle cacti. This is my nightmare tarantula. You've probably heard me refer to this as on my Instagram. Call this the nightmare tarantula. This is my Rhipsalis baccifera subspecies horrida, which is also commonly known as the mouse tail cactus. And as you can see, this guy is nuts. Just a crazy fuzzy mess. And I love it. So yes, these, it's not spiky. Most jungle cacti are not spiky cacti. They don't need to be. They're epiphytic. They grow up out of the reach of grazing animals for the most part. And so this one does definitely have hairs on it, They're not hard or spiked. They're not like needles. They are soft. And this one will send out shoots. When they mature, they will start to branch like this one. Eventually you'll have this long, dangly, multi-segmented mess and riot of awesome cacti glory. I really appreciate this one a lot, and it's done very well for me in my home. Most of my Rhipsalis, so they like moderate to bright light, kind of on the brighter side of moderate if you can. Indirect or diffused light is what they really enjoy because it's similar to their native environment up under a canopy in a jungle or rainforest. And they like moderate to higher levels of humidity. So I have all of my Rhipsalis, and I think all of these jungle cacti live in my plant room, which I keep at about 45 to 50%, which they seem to do well. They could probably benefit from a little bit more or higher humidity if I'm really thinking about it. But they are doing quite well there. I have new growth. I check them every, few days, and definitely they're still growing, nothing's suffering. So those are the conditions I keep my Rhipsalis and my other jungle cacti in. This guy, the baccifera horrida, is found in Madagascar, kind of off the beaten path of the jungle cacti. The last one I'm going to show you is not technically a Rhipsalis. This is known as the Pseudo Rhipsalis. Pseudo, of course, meaning false or not true. Isn't that what false means? It's the Pseudo Rhipsalis ramulosa. It's also commonly called a red Rhipsalis, even though it's not technically a Rhipsalis. It's still an epiphytic jungle cactus. This one's doing okay. If you give these Pseudo Rhipsalis higher light conditions, they do turn red, which I don't know if we're ever going to get there with this one. I don't think I can provide it. Well, maybe. We'll see what it does in my plant room this summer. I'm certainly not averse to putting it in higher light. This one hasn't really grown too much for me, except it recently shot out this strange little tendril. It doesn't really look like the other tendrils at all. It's very cylindrical. It almost resembles the Campos-portoana here in terms of this thing and its growth habit. It is kind of branching out at the end. I don't know if you can see that. It's getting a little bit more of a paddle shape to it. The rest of these kind of have that paddle or pendulate shape. Who wants to talk about some Epiphyllum? Because I have a few of those. So this first one I have, this is an Epiphyllum, also called an Orchid cactus. This particular Epiphyllum is a monstrose version, which is essentially a mutated version of a mother plant or a mother variety of Epiphyllum. So this particular Epiphyllum is a monstrose version of Epiphyllum guatemalense. It's also referred to as the curly locks Epiphyllum. As you can tell, it's aptly named. I think it kind of, what do I call this thing? I've started calling it Jules Verne, just because it looks like something from a Jules Verne novel. Squid, submarine, yeah. It is slowly growing. I have noticed some new growth on it. I'm hoping it does pick up this summer. But yeah, I really, really enjoy this one. It's got these awesome curly, twisty leaves. I really enjoy weird looking plants. It's kind of my jam. And Rhipsalis and jungle cacti definitely serve that, that preference for me a lot. They just look very strange and otherworldly, and I really appreciate that about them, just their uniqueness. So this particular Epiphyllum is, as the name might imply, found in Guatemala. This is my one of my newest acquisitions for my jungle cacti. I did feature it in an unboxing. I will put that up there, whatever side it's on. This is also, the common name is Hooker's Orchid Cactus. It's known as the Epiphyllum hookeri. And it has these long, flat, very flat, paddle-like leaves that grow up and over the pot, which I really enjoy. This is the newest one. It's kind of doing its own thing right now. We'll see what it turns into. And then I do have some new growth poking out of the top there, right there. So as you can see, these were obviously cuttings from a larger plant that were stuck in the soil to root. And root they did because they produce these beautiful, beautiful leaves. And it's doing really well. It's acclimating to my home really perfectly. Should mention, this is found in much of Central and South America. It's found, let's see here, this and the Pseudo Rhipsalis, to be honest, are probably the most widespread out of all of the jungle cacti in my collection in terms of where they're found in the wild. This one, the Pseudo Rhipsalis, is found in Belize, Bolivia, Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Peru, Venezuela, Mexico, and Jamaica and Haiti. This little guy is found in Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Mexico, and Cuba. Last but not least, for this video anyway, I do have a Thanksgiving cactus in my other room, but it's so big and bulky it won't fit on my table. I'm just gonna leave it there. But this guy is my Lepismium houlletianum. And again, I got 3 of these because I was hoping to pot them together and make a larger plant out of them. Seems like that's going to be a good plan. I have a pot that will fit all 3 of them. I do keep my Rhipsalis and my jungle cacti not necessarily root bound, but definitely in smaller pots. I don't want to get the pot size too big because, again, as epiphytes, they really don't want to be sitting in water. They don't want wet feet. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. And for me, that means terracotta pots of a smaller size. So I'm wondering if this pot might even be a little bit too big. So I'm going to be careful. I'm going to make the soil mix quite airy, maybe a little bit more porous and with better drainage than I normally would even. I try to give good drainage to these guys to begin with, but I'm thinking I'll kind of up the perlite and orchid bark levels a little bit more for this, just because of the pot size. I really don't want to have it sitting in water. So Lepismium houlletianum is found in Brazil and Argentina. That's where it's endemic to. And I really enjoy it because it has these, again, these pendant leaves that have these really pronounced spikes on them. They look a lot like Schlumberger truncata or the Thanksgiving cactus, because that's how you can tell Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter cacti apart, is by whether or not they have these pronounced spikes on their leaves. I think it definitely kind of looks like a hand saw. I don't know if this makes anybody cringe with me running my finger over it. It's really not sharp at all. This is very gentle, very gently spiked. So I am excited for this one. It's a welcome addition to my little jungle cacti family. And that's about it for me. This video is getting a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So I might post a separate repot of this one. Thank you so much for watching and sharing my jungle cacti collection with me. I appreciate you. I hope you're all doing well and staying healthy and enjoying your plants if you are stuck at home. So until next time, please enjoy your plants and take care.